So it's around midnight. I just finished 3 episodes of Transformers. All the stop motion is done. Well, the raw footage. I have to wait for one guy who's gonna do the voice of Blitzwing. I'm really excited that he offered. And then comes the full-on editing, and after that comes the soft editing of making sure the voice lines up, and making sure that all the lines are in there. I gotta thank him again, Diamond War Productions. I think that's his name. He said, could I do Blitzwing? And I'm like, sure. Almost finished with that series. So more episodes will come out. Don't unsubscribe or turn off notifications because they will come out. It's just gonna take a while. But I gotta thank you guys again for being so nice with sort of a change in stuff. I have to thank you again. 2 years. I really hope that by the end of this year, this is my goal. Come end of 2019, we hit 50 subscribers or 60. If we hit 100, I will do something wacky, something zany, something fun. I'll release like nothing but stop motions for a whole week, which would be hard and grinding and but I would do that for you guys. So if we could hit 60, if we could hit 100 before the end of 2019, which we still have 4 months. I think that's plenty of time. So have some of your friends do it, only because then I will release a full-on week of stop motions. But of course, you don't have to do anything. Again, that's just a number. I don't care. But thank you all. On to my more awake review of Silver Surfer. Hello everyone, Rodimus2099 here with another review. Today I'm reviewing the Marvel Legends Walgreens exclusive Silver Surfer. Found this little guy at my local comic book store. Picked him up because I do love Silver Surfer. So much so that he's my top signature. Those are my 5 signatures. They're all in sort of a collage, and I plan on having more going up and on the side. But yeah, that's just my collage, I guess. But yeah, I met Doug Jones. Doug Jones was the body actor for him, and he's great. Anyway, so the Silver Surfer, I'm not exactly sure on what body he uses, but I do kind of like the body. It does not feel as spindly and as thin as Madcap, and it does not feel as bulky as some of the... I'm trying to find which one I was comparing it to. Which one was I comparing to? I was comparing him to someone who had butterfly joints. Oh. It doesn't feel as, I think it is the Bullseye body. But that's just my guess. I'm thinking it is. It could not be. It could be something else. I just don't know. Maybe a Spider-Man body. But I'm assuming it's Bullseye for the time being. So, since he has a lot of accessories, I feel that we should talk about them first. And then we'll talk about my main complaint with this figure. But, on to accessories. So, as any figure should, they should come with multiple hands, especially if hands are what gives them power. So, he has a pair of open hands, and these are sort of the Spidey resting on top of a pillar thing. That's what I call them. They're not called that. As usual, a pair of fists, to be precise, which is very nicely done. And then a pair of, what are you doing, karate chopping hands. Or just whoosh, straight hands. I definitely like these. All the detail is actually pretty nice. And it's covered with beautiful silver. Now, what kind of surfer would he be if he did not have his surfboard, which only has one peg? I find that super strange, because the little 3.75 inch one, definitely has a better surfboard, in my opinion. I do like how sleek this one looks. It definitely looks very comic accurate. That one looks more like a normal surfboard, but it has two pegs and they're sort of wide enough where they're nicely proportioned. And then what is great is coming with a pair of these little glowy effects, which I do not have any of these, even though they're, I think, one of the most common effects put in with Marvel Legends. But I definitely like these. It's simple enough. You can sort of just kind of get it on the wrist and then have the hand come out, sort of like that. I don't really enjoy that as much as the other way that I found, where you take one of the thumbs and you sort of push it through one of the holes. And it sort of gives a more satisfying look. I'm just trying to do this, and I've just realized I'm doing it off camera. But I sort of prefer to do that. That's how I have him displayed when he's shooting cosmic stuff. And I like that. I definitely like that effect. That's a great effect to include. It has little sparkles in it, like they put glitter in it or something, which I think is just fantastic. So, I kind of want to talk about one of my biggest complaints with this guy. No stand. See, with Marvel Legends, I'm so used to not getting any stand or base or anything, but with a guy like Silver Surfer, who, if you don't already own a stand, you need to buy one, because otherwise he does not look good in any way posed without a stand. He just looks so awkward when he's just standing on his board, sort of in the corner of your display. I just think it's awkward looking and not super cool as he should look. Like if he had a stand, or if he had a sort of base piece that had a blue streak going in it and sort of could wrap around and hold him up. Even if he came with something as simple as a clear block or two clear blocks to make him look sort of levitating, I think that would have made this figure a really high, a really like just amazing one for me to include on the list. I wish that he did that. I wish that he had that, because we used to get that stuff with Toy Biz. We used to get stuff like really nice effects that I think were great. Some of them I still love to this day, and I really love that. But it's a little annoying that you don't get that with this guy. But I do find him still pretty cool. I think that he's a pretty good buck. That's what I call bodies. He's on a good buck, and he has a fair amount of articulation. So let's cover that amount of articulation. So as I said before, he has a butterfly joint, which is one of my favorite joints to have on a figure. Wolverine pulled it off fantastic, and Spider-Man is required to have it unless it's Spider-Man Noir, and I give a little bit of a slide because I love that suit so much. And then he has a hinge that can swing up that much, gets cut off because of the sculpt, and stays at that amount. And of course, it can usually go full 360, stuff like that. And then he has a bicep rotation and a double joint, and then of course a hinge hand. And he only has this type of hinge, no other types. So then the head is of course on a hinge which can swing down that far, up that far, and full 360, and you can get lots of head tiltage, which is nice. Now ab crunch, you can go that far back, which is pretty weirdly back, that far forward, which is pretty crouched forward, full 360 rotation. Then he has a ball joint, which can stick out that up that much, back that much, forward that much. Yeah, it's not a good it's not a good ball joint. And of course, 360 on that. Then he has a double joint that can make him kick himself in his butt. That hurt. A upper boot rotation, and a normal hinge thingy, and made in China. Now, I really like his not overall look, because there's nothing really looky about him, but just his style, his presence that he has. Since I'm such a big Silver Surfer fan, that's why I met Doug Jones. Well, I'm also just a Doug Jones fan. I mean, he's just so cool to me. But I'm such a big Silver Surfer fan that I need to just own one in my display. I need to have one in my display. I've always wanted him. This Comic-Con, I tried to find one, had no luck. Which is weird because, well, not too weird, but I was at the one with Doug Jones, and there was thousands of them there, and I was like, I should have picked one up. I did not. Because I'm an idiot. But I really do like this guy. I think that he really stands up to a sort of prowl that Silver Surfer will always hold up to. I definitely don't think he's good enough that I can really say that I like him more than every figure in my collection, but I can definitely say that in my small comic book shelf, he stands out as a really good figure. But you know what time it is? It's time for a comparison, and I think this is a fair comparison. If anything, this guy should win in the comparison. Now, usually I don't compare different size classes of figures, because this figure is able to pull off stuff that this one can't. This one can pull off stuff that that one can't. And it's with my 3.75 inch one, my quarter scale one, the one that has been in my collection for a long time. Longer than this guy has even been made. I love this guy, and he came with Doctor Strange, and he was just a fantastic figure to pick up. I love him in my display. I made an entire display dedicated to him because he's so cool. Now, of course, while I compare these two, which I'm sorry if this is a longer video because I'm stretching it out now, but you can see that this is obviously more of a comic book accurate shape. This is obviously more of an accurate surfer board, because they don't go straight, they go curve. They have a bulge out, and then that comes to the rounded point, where this one is just flat all the way. So this one is obviously more comic accurate, this one is more real life accurate, but this one does something that this one doesn't even want to do, which is have another peg hole. Now, I'm fine with not having peg holes, but I feel that they should have given you that option of a second peg hole, or even something as daring and as cool as putting magnets in the board. This whole thing could be a magnetic row, and the feet could be magnets. That would offer so much cool posing. You could have him at the front of the board, sort of just standing there. You could have him at the back. You could have him in the middle. You could have him even 1 foot sort of on the board. I think that could be cool. This one, of course, lets you do more. You can have more of a stable function if he's on both sides. If he's even doing that, he's pretty stable. Like, I'm shaking my desk right now, and he isn't falling. And that's just because he has one peg hole and he's close to another one. And the peg holes are very good on this guy. And this guy doesn't have all the articulation that this one does, but it still holds up as a nice Silver Surfer. I'd go even as far to say that I like this face more. It feels more Surfer-esque. Where this one feels more human-esque. It's very rounded. Where this one has very cutting definitions, which always has sort of been a fact of Silver Surfer. When comparing the Silver Surfer faces to his comic book version, using the What If the Silver Surfer story, you can see he has very high cutting definition, with some very rounded edges. But it's not all round. Now, if we move even further into the comic, you can obviously see that his face is very angular no matter what. There's always that nice jaw line, which this guy doesn't have. You could say that it's there, but it just doesn't feel like it. Where this one, it's very darkly shaded in. Looks very nice, and it gets the role of being a comic book Silver Surfer really nice. Oh, there's his butt. And even going as far as when he's sort of calmly faced, like that panel, you can obviously see this one still looks like it. Now, I definitely think that this one is definitely a Silver Surfer. You see this and you think it's Silver Surfer. But what I think is I don't think comic book Silver Surfer, like I do with him. I think movie Silver Surfer. Because the movie one was definitely more human. He had more expressions. He was sort of just... He was still stern, as he is always in the comics. But he wasn't as stern as in some of these, where he just sort of is standing there, and he's just like that. But of course, you can't capture something as slick as a comic in such a 2D way. You can't catch it in such a 3D way. Oops. You can't catch the 2D design in a real 3D way. That's what I've been meaning to say. So, which one of these is better? I think that they're both great. They have their pros, they have their cons, they have their boards. They all have something great about them, which I think is awesome for a action figure. Every real action figure should have an amazing amount of articulation. And this guy does pull it off. Now, does he have the best look? Definitely no. And definitely with aging, he loses his silver and sort of looks very pale, white-ish. So that's definitely a con. Now, do I think that you should compare these two? Yes, because they're from different years, but they're from definitely times where there's so much that they can do to make a great figure that they didn't. I think that this is a subpar Silver Surfer figure. Why am I so particular about this? It's because he's one of my favorite characters. Because he doesn't have to be complex. He doesn't have to be a very complex drawn one. When I was just learning to draw, he was my favorite. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into that some other time. Tomorrow, I will stop doing long videos. My god, mine yesterday was 25 minutes. It was only supposed to be 19. And this one is 17. So, we'll go away with that. But, as always, I have to thank you guys for watching. I have been Rodimus2099. I'll see you in the next video. And, who knows? Maybe the next video will be Transformers stop motion. Maybe. Anyway, bye. Hi everyone, Rodimus while editing here again. And I just realized, no, tomorrow will not be stop motion, Transformers stop motion. I wish it could be. It can't. Again, the guy who I have playing Blitzwing hasn't finished yet. So once he finishes, it will be out within a day. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Anyway, bye. I already did an outro, so I don't have to do it again.